A demoted DOJ official, Bruce Ohr, is expected in the hot seat today over his links to Fusion GPS, one day after FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe was grilled for more than 7 hours about bias in the agency. Now, Todd Pyrer is here now live for us to break it all down. So, Todd, the big question was, did this indicate what was going on inside, the fact that it took so long, 7.5 hours?
Yeah, and the question, I think, is answered with a we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Like you said, 7.5 hours. That is almost a full workday's worth of testimony. But House Intel Committee members were tight-lipped about what Andrew McCabe said amid calls for his firing over allegations of conflicts of interest and anti-Trump political prejudice. It's just the latest development in the controversy around text exchange between FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who worked on Robert Mueller's Russia probe, as well as links between DOJ officials, like you mentioned, Bruce Ohr, and Fusion GPS, which created that anti-Trump dossier. Republicans on the committee were also expected to press McCabe on whether he should have recused himself from the Hillary Clinton email investigation. That's because McCabe's wife received money for her Virginia State Senate campaign from donors linked to Clinton.
I don't want this testimony to just occur behind closed doors. One of the things Congressman Biggs and I are fighting for are subpoenas so that before the Judiciary Committee and all of the American people, we can get answers to these questions, expose the bias that we know exists, and ensure that we have a rule of law that we can rely on again in this country.
The American people need them to come in because the bias is so palpable. It's so real. And, you know, when that happens, nobody believes that anybody's going to get a fair investigation in any level.
Meantime, the House is preparing to hold a standalone vote to renew a controversial warrantless surveillance program that the intel community says is critical to stopping terror plots. This as Republican Senators Rand Paul and Mike Lee said they would vote against any government spending bill that includes authorization of that part of the FISA law. So a lot going on, as you might imagine, on Capitol Hill, even though we're just a few days away from Christmas.
Yeah, we'll see if maybe any of the Christmas vacations or breaks are delayed. Do you want to bet on that?
I'm thinking they're going to get everything done because people like to be with their families,
exactly.
Even congressmen.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Todd. Appreciate it.
Next to this story, Bruce Ohr, the Obama Justice Department official, demoted over his undisclosed meeting with Fusion GPS. That's the firm behind the anti-Trump dossier. They were doing opposition research on Trump. He was expected to testify today before the Senate Intelligence Committee, but it never happened. With me now, Republican Congressman from Georgia and member of the House Judiciary Committee. He is Doug Collins. Sir, it's great to have you on. We love having you on. Why didn't he testify? I mean, his wife worked at that opposition research firm. The FBI paid that firm thousands of money. The DNC was behind it. There's a lot of questions about a DOJ official doing this. I mean, why didn't he show up?
Well, maybe you just outlined why he didn't show up. His wife worked for Fusion GPS. He had meetings with them, didn't disclose those meetings. I mean, it's becoming an ongoing cycle of it, and it's really disturbing. So maybe he's back studying for the test. I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to come and didn't feel like he could answer it. All it does is continue to see what the American people says is something's not right here. We're not getting the full story. President Trump and the whole investigation, this is something that we need to take a look at. And Mr. Ohr not coming, they need to be straightforward. It restores the faith in the Justice Department, and right now we just don't see it.
Congressman, are you banging the table saying this? The taxpayer funds the FBI. The taxpayer funds the DOJ. We, the taxpayer, have a right for transparency to hear what is going on here. I mean, you cannot have the federal police force steering an election or trying to throw it either way, or Justice Department officials doing that. You had a hearing with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein last week. Were you satisfied with what he said?
No, I was actually frustrated with what he said because he made it very clear that he was over and it was him providing oversight to the Mueller investigation because he appointed him. And I asked him at one point, I said, since you appointed him, and I believe Robert Mueller was a good man, I think that the direction of this investigation has went off track because the people that he put on the team. And so I said, I just feel like that he must be embarrassed by the way this has turned because this is not the way an investigation needs to be run. This is not what needs to happen. And when you have these current things that just keep eroding the trust of the American people, it really makes them try now to have to backtrack on their story, and that's not what the American people need. That's not what they need in this Justice Department, and I think we need that investigation to be free from this, and that's why we've called for a second special counsel to look into this, along with what the special investigator, the Inspector General, is already doing. I think at the end of the day, look, President Trump has been forthcoming. You know, it goes along all the time. He's wanting to see this. He's been cooperative. His attorney's been cooperative. It's now time for DOJ to be transparent as well.
You know, you saw this with the IRS scandal, sidelining nonprofit, conservative nonprofits, questioning the size of government, ironically. I mean, this is about, it's right in our face. The Democrats, and then large number of federal workers are Democrats and they work in a union. It's like hiding in plain sight. Final word, Congressman.
Well, I think at this point we're going to keep focused. I mean, what we're excited about is these investigations going on, but what we're doing with the work of the American people. That's tax reform. That's President Trump leading on what he said he was going to do, and that's where people are going to have a Christmas present, jobs. We're looking at growth. That's it.